This stuff's simple. Don't complicate it. All right. Banking through life insurance is a process, not a product. This is what the guy on the street in the U.S. has been doing for years. This is my 29-year-old making $28,500 a year. He's paid $50 a month for life insurance and complains about it. But every cotton picking one of them, well, okay, by the way, anytime you get a big pool of money together, you got to have some means of protecting it. Hence the Great Wall of China, to protect that money. Keep the riffraff out of there, Will. Now, there's certain organizations out there that have privileged access to that pool. And in the U.S., one of them used to be GMAC. Y'all ever heard of them?
Yep.
All right. That's, all right. They don't exist anymore. It's Ally Bank now. I guess people started catching on to what they were like and
Change the name.
And so the guy that's paying $50 a month, he'll pay GMAC $260 a month on the Chevrolet Malibu. GMAC will strip out 30 and pass the money back to the insurance company because that's where they got the money. I have never seen a monthly report from GMAC or from Equitable, New York rather. I've never seen a money market report from Equitable, New York that did not have GMAC and Associates Finance as where they lent money. These organizations buy blocks of money from insurance companies. They fragment it and they sell it to the riffraff outside the wall. That's all. Now, I told you there's only one pool of money, right, Bob?
Yeah.
There's only one pool of money. Bob, isn't he paying $310 a month to the insurance company now? $250? $310. He's going through a gatekeeper and toll taker who's living well off of it. I'll bet you this guy at GMAC is living better than he is. I've seen both parties. Now, he'd ever get that through his head and say, what I'm going to do is tell old Richard Canfield that I read this book by this clown from the Nelson Nash Institute called Becoming Your Own Banker. And so I'm going to go see Richard and say, look, Richard, my need for finance is huge. Automobiles is just one of them. Richard, let me go ahead and give you $310 a month. Now I'm inside the Great Wall of China. I don't have to go through a gatekeeper and toll taker. And so after a few years, I got some money because I put in $310 a month for 4 years. So, Richard, I've traded my old Malibu that I've been driving for 4 years. I need $10,550 extra, but trading in my old car plus this money to get the new Malibu. And Richard gets the money from me, and he says, well, Equitable wants 5 interest rate?
7 right now.
7? What? Equitable charges 7% interest. Richard says, we're not going to play that game. We're going to call GMAC, and if they want $260 a month, that's what you're going to pay. Now, y'all know that client can tell Richard, stick it in the ear. I'm not about to do that. I'm going to pay 1.9 like Jim Skinnerford says on the television in Birmingham. Well, how about this 0% interest? Mark, you believe that? There's no way.
Of course I do.
Yeah. Well, back there years ago when I was with Equitable New York, I had doctor clients bragging that they had 0% interest on their Cadillac. Well, Mark, you're wasting your time talking to them any further because that mind is locked and nothing is going to penetrate that barrier. Go find somebody else that can think. Well, it's true. Now, Richard says, okay. Richard says, no, I'm going to cut you an amortization table for $260 a month. But if you halfway smart, you're going to pay $275 a month. Now, if that amortization calls for $260 a month, and if he pays $275, he's going to pay off the loan with Equitable before he finishes the schedule.
Correct.
Y'all got that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, if he doesn't finish the schedule, Will, is he obeying what I'm teaching?
No. Stealing the peas.
He's stealing peas. How do you rectify that? Go see Richard about another policy. All right, do you see why it's necessary to have lots of policies? Coupled with the fact that, like I say, this is the greatest way in the world to be able to give medium of exchange to the next generations and to proliferate their system. Now, once you get this through your head, okay, people like the Kennedys and families like that, rule number one is never lose principle. Never touch principle. Okay? What's the Buffett's rule number one? Don't lose money. What's rule number two?
Never break rule number one.
Remember rule number one. Yeah. So you see, that's exactly describing a life insurance policy. It's always growing, and there is no such thing as paying too much. It's impossible. Like I say, if you think this thing through, once your premiums and income match, all you got to do is go find lawyers and finance their airplanes. Nothing to it. All right, now I told y'all all the easy part of this. There's not a thing in the world complicated about this. It's just different from the way everybody else thinks. Here is the complication. These are the human factors. Now, I have spent a lot of time studying this stuff down through the years. It fascinates me almost as much as the banking function does. So, as it relates to us, you can categorize it 5 things. Cover the waterfront. Parkinson's law, Willie Sutton's law, the golden rule, the arrival syndrome, and use it or lose it. Those 5 cover it all. Let's look at them one by one. Theodore Parkinson was a British essayist, humorist, economist, wrote a lot of good stuff. But one book that he wrote was just a small book called Parkinson's Law. Once you see a few ramifications of it, you can extrapolate it to all kinds of situations that meet that definition. For instance, he said, work expands to meet the time envelope allowed. Actually, give somebody a job to do, give them 3 days to do it. When are they going to get it through? When are they going to get it done, love?
The last day.
Now you give them 6 days to do the same job, what happens?
Same thing.
Well, give them a month to do it, what's going to happen?
Same thing.
Does it have to be that way? But it is. I turn that loose, it'll fall every time. Law of gravity. Anything that happens every time, that's a law. Okay? So this is the phenomenon as it relates to us in the human world. Expenses rise to equal income. A lot of folks say, no, that's not true. Expenses rise to exceed income. I just described your country and my country. Remember what Bill Bonner said. People buy things in the U.S. that they don't need with money they don't have to influence people they don't know who could care less. That's ridiculous. But it happens. Now, he said a luxury once enjoyed becomes a necessity. Is that true?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, after the Audi 100, Mary got a Mercedes, and that thing was a lemon. 4 years, it had to go. And so anyway, she got a Lexus. This one had to have bun warmers, didn't it?
Yep.
Y'all know what bun warmers are? Heated seats. Bun warmers.
We eat them up here.
Yeah. Now look, I have back problems. I've gone through what's the word? Decompression with a chiropractor twice down through the years. First thing he does is put me on the table and puts heat back there, about 15 minutes or so. Then puts me on this machine that it stretches. Then puts me back on the table and puts ice and electrostimulation back there. Then I walk out there just walking on air. All right. Now, I get in Mary's Lexus and turn on the bun warmers, and that heat didn't cost anything at all. Once you've experienced bun warmers in somebody else's car, oh, Tyler, that's a necessity. Would you think of buying one? Would you live without one?
Nope, not now.
Now, I I told y'all I deal, definitely, exclusively with sponsors. I go to Nacogdoches, Texas a good bit. That's a town of 35,000 people in eastern Texas. And Richard, the sponsors there is John Baker and Ricky Hurd. John Baker's a fellow pilot, Mark.
You still flying, by the way?
Oh, does he?
No, are
You
you?
mean? Southwest. But I'll tell you a story before the day's over. Anyway, one of his clients is a most laid-back pilot I've ever seen in my life. Now, Mark knows what I'm talking about. Us pilots call flying hours and hours of boredom, punctuated by a few seconds of stark terror. Now, during that stark terror, you gotta learn to panic calmly. This guy's the most laid-back pilot I've ever seen. Nothing bothers him. He is good. Well, he has great contacts with airplanes in Nacogdoches. And there's this manufacturer there that's got a brand new $6.5 million Piper Beechcraft 350 12-place turbo.
Yeah.
And so there's John and Ricky. There's the pilot and his father, Marion and I. We're going to go from Nacogdoches down to Lufkin, Texas for the $2,000 hamburger. They might understand it, but you do.
Oh, yeah. I've got for a couple of $300 hamburgers.
It costs $2,000 to go down and come back. $2,000 hamburger. Okay, they got me riding shotgun, Tal. That's co-pilot. We line up there for the takeoff, and the pilot turns to me and says, "It's all yours."
Nice.
"Sir, I haven't been behind the wheel in 5 years. You got more goodies on that panel than I've ever seen. I read about them. I've never seen them. Don't worry, I've got the throttles, I've got the flaps, I've got the landing gear, I've got the radio. Fly it." Mark, I am in ecstasy. I am having a ball. He even lets me land it. Yeah.
To say, did you get to land it?
Oh yes, oh
Nice.
yes. Boy, I'll tell you. Anyway, about on very short final there, over the headset, recorded voice says 50 feet, 40 feet, 30 feet.
Nice. GPWS working just fine.
The radar is telling me how far I'm above the runway tower. I'm not used to that. We pull up the ramp, shut the engines down. I yell back to Mary, "Mary, we got a problem."
I look at her shaking her head again.
She says, "No." "Baby, you don't understand." "Yes, I do. It's called Parkinson's law."
How'd that work for you?
Do you think I'm stupid enough to do that? There's no way.